Alright guys, welcome back to Nifty Network. Today we have G37 on the lift, and I'm going to teach you how to remove your upper control arm. Only reason you're going to be doing this is if you're going to be putting an aftermarket one in, or if you crashed pretty badly and you broke that. But if you broke that, then you probably got deeper issues. But I'm still going to teach you how to do it, so let's get to it. First thing, what I like to do is I like to separate the knuckle from the upper control arm, because that allows the whole assembly to kind of lean this way, and it just gives you more room in the back to work. So we'll start here. And when you're doing this top one, then the bolt is going to be loose on here, obviously, because you just took the nut off. But you're going to want to do is you're going to want to see that movement that the upper control arm has right there, how it does that. You're going to want to pinch down, and then that will allow this bolt to come out nicely. If you don't pinch down, like, you can literally hit this. It just makes it way easier. And also, if I've seen it happen before where this groove right here on the upper control arm, it'll actually get like threaded from this bolt, and then it's just a pain. So pull down on the upper and then slide this bolt out. So now we got this hanging out like that. I'm going to undo these 12s that hold the caliper lines on, because we just don't want all that tension on the lines. And then once you have those off, just kind of push the caliper forward, and you're going to want to take the slack off that back one. So now this can go all the way. And then you're going to grab a pry bar and pry these off the mounts right here. Okay, so you get that one off. And then this one, once you have one off, the other side kind of comes off easier just because it has less tension. Get that last little bit out of there. Okay, so now you have your brake lines completely free. It's not going to get pinched or stretched or anything. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the back of the caliper, and you can remove this ABS sensor. It's just in a clip. Kind of frees up a little space for you. So get that out of your way. You're going to grab a 17 and you're going to grab a 19. Just bring this right over here. Put the 17 on there, and then hold the back side with the wrench. Alright, so next step on getting the caliper and the rotor off. This is just a little trick for you. Grab a lug nut and put it on here, because 9 times out of 10, the caliper is holding the rotor on. Sometimes the rotor is just stuck on there, and then you'll have to like hammer it off. But I always put a lug nut on there, because then you can just focus on getting the caliper off. So it's a 22. Get a little impact action on her. So there's one. And there's the second one. I always like to leave the bolt in like a couple threads, just so that it holds the caliper for you. Okay, so once you do that, just rotate the caliper off of the rotor, like so. And when you separate the knuckle from the upper, it gives you a little place for your caliper to sit if you need to work on it. So that can stay right there. And then we'll take the rotor off. So like on this one, it's stuck, which it never happens. Normally the rotor will fall off when you take the caliper off. Grab a sledgehammer and just tap around this so you can free up the rotor. Make sure not to hit on the rotor. If you're keeping your rotors, don't hit on the rotor, because that'll just leave dents and marks. Okay, so right there, your rotor is off. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to get this knuckle off and the hub. So these the ABS lines are routed like this. Just pop those off. There's a few of them on there. There's one in the back. There's one right here. And unplug that. And just kind of get this out of your way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cotter pin out of the outer tie rod, and then I'm going to pull the bolt off of the lower control arm, and then the knuckle will come off. I'll have the knuckle on the ground or on the table, and then I'll pull the hub off of here. So right now I'm just removing that cotter pin. I like to use dikes for this. Just open the cotter pin up. I'll use the pliers as sort of like a leverage thing. So right here I have a little bit of the cotter pin showing, and I'll put the flat side on the nut of the pliers, and if you just rotate this back, it'll pull that out straight. These things can be a pain if you're not familiar working with them. That's the easiest way that I found out to do that. So now we'll take the tie rod off, or the nut off. That changes per car. Sometimes they're 19, sometimes they're 17, sometimes they're 21s. On this one it is a 19. Okay, so you get that off. And then we'll pull the cotter pin off of the lower. And normally I do the outer tie rod first because those are always pressed in, and they don't ever come undone, so you don't have to worry about something falling on you until you do this. So the same thing right here. Just give it a little pinch, and then once you have it out enough, you can pry the cotter pin out. And on this one I didn't even straighten it, and it still came out straight, and it came out nice. So then we're gonna get the bolt off of the lower, and that's a 22. And this is when things will fall on you, so just make sure that you have a grip on the top of the knuckle. So that comes out like that, and you can let this hang out that way. And you're gonna grab a sledgehammer, and you're gonna want to hit it. They have a mark on here. That mark right there, you want to hit it right there. So that basically shocks the knuckle, and it allows the tie rod to come out of there. Alright, so now we're going to take the strut off. I'm just lowering the lift down a little bit. You're going to have a 19 on the bottom, and you're going to have 12s on the top. I always do the 19 first because it holds inside of the, it like stays put inside of the lower control arm. So grab a 19, and what is that, 21? Put a 21 wrench back here. So just undo that, and we'll smack the end link out. And then, so we'll come up to the top, and you're gonna see three 12 millimeter nuts up here. So there's 1, 2, 3, just take that off, and then you'll be able to pull the coilover out, or the strut out, my bad. And when you leave it in the lower control arm like that, you don't have to worry about it falling on you. So right now it's completely undone and it didn't fall out. Then you're just gonna push down on this, on the lower, and then you can walk the strut right out of there. All right, and then to take the upper control arm off, it's really easy if you have the strut out. If you try to take the upper control arm out with the strut in it, you're going to run into issues. The bolt is going to be too long. It's going to hit that. So just remove the strut. It'll make your life way easier. That's a 14 and a 14. And there you go. That is how you remove a upper control arm on a G37 or G35.